This conference will now be recorded.
Well, guys, welcome tonight to another group. I apologize. I am really, really tired and out of it. More than normal, I know. So if I'm a little extra slurry or goofy or I'm not with it, you guys understand. So let's go ahead and just go around and introduce ourselves. I'll start myself out. I'm Kim. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. Diagnosed in 2012, and I'm currently on Ocrevus and relapsing and remitting. And we will go now to Jen and Dan.
Go ahead. I'm Dan Digman, and I'm in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and I've had MS since 2000, and I also am on Ocrevus.
And I'm Jennifer Digman in Mount Pleasant with Dan. I have secondary progressive MS. I was diagnosed in 1997. I'm taking Rituxan.
Okay, Frank.
And I'm Frank Austin in Plainville, Kansas. I was diagnosed also in 1997, and I am taking Sunshine.
Nice.
Love it. John.
Hi, I'm John Andrews. I live in Big Rapids, Michigan. As always, I will show you right on my handy map. And I was diagnosed with RMS in 2016, and I currently take Zeposia.
All right, the other Jennifer, and then you have to introduce your pet and friend there as well.
This is my grand dragon, Tiki.
Oh, grand Jen. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, he looks like his grandma. So anyway, I have relapse remitting. Was diagnosed in 2019, and I got my hair permed. Yeah, I did. I love it.
Are back.
You know what? I'm okay because I got some oomph to it instead of like, because I'm on Abagio, which I've lost a lot of hair, but I got some oomph going. I feel a lot better.
Welcome. All right, go ahead, Mike. You have to unmute yourself. Still can't hear you.
You're still muted, Mike.
There you go.
There you go.
Technical issues. I'm Mike. I live in Arizona. I'm from Michigan originally, and I had relapsing remitting. Now I'm pretty sure I'm in secondary progressive phase, and I was taking Paxil. I stopped, and here I am, still here.
Okay, Christy.
I've been thinking about Kesimpta. Is RMD, our relapsing is for relapsing, and speaking with Christy, I think was on Kesimpta, and we need to talk offline about that.
Cool. Christy.
Hi, excuse me. I'm Christy. I just live right outside of Denver, Colorado in Brighton. I was diagnosed in 2003. And so I have been on many DMTs, but now I'm currently on Ocrevus and just kind of living life right now. So that's where I'm at.
Excellent.
In a new room. Christy, you're in a new room, no?
I was in this room last time. Since I can't get up and down the stairs very well, we purchased a laptop so I could do my meetings. And plus I have other stuff that I have to do on the computer, which our computer is downstairs. So it just made more sense for us to purchase a laptop. And so now I'm in my room.
Okay, Amanda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. I am in Barboursville, Virginia. I have relapsing remitting, and I am on Kesimpta. So, Mike, we can chat about it if you would like.
Okay, Ronnie.
Hi, I'm Ronnie. I live in New York City. I was diagnosed in 2013, but probably have had it for like 25 years. I'm on Ocrevus, and as to what type I have an emergency appointment for tomorrow, and hopefully I will know then because things have not been good lately. And I get to go to physical therapy and MRI and see my doctor tomorrow, which should be fun.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah. Well, it's all in one building. It's an MS center, so at least that's the easy part. But I would like some answers tomorrow.
Okay, Louis.
Oh, I'm from San Antonio, relapsing remitting, and I'm on Ocrevus, diagnosed December.
Karen.
I'm Karen, and I'm in Oakland, California. The best weather in the country. Spring is out there. People are just happy and wearing sandals and short sleeves and jumping around. It's just, and the birds are screaming and the buds are coming out. So that's kind of what I have to live on.
We had that for 2 days, Karen.
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah. I heard that somewhere, somebody.
Snowstorm coming next week.
4 to 7 inches of snow tomorrow. Back off.
Well, it's the only thing I can crow about, So I was diagnosed in January 2019. So that means 3 years with I wasn't diagnosed with this, but that's what's in my chart. Non-relapsing progressive MS. And there are no meds for old people like me, so I'm not on that. And I do want to get on the agenda because this week, or last week, whatever day it was, I did have a home visit from the residential specialist at the Center for Independent Living. It was on my to-do list forever, and that was a great visit. And I want to find out from Christy and whoever else about how to apply for some funding to get like an elevator by my house. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Okay, let's finish introductions with because we have Tiffany, and then we can get back to your questions here. So last but not least, Tiffany, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I live in Massachusetts. I was diagnosed October of last year. I have relapsing remitting, and I am on Copaxone.
I love it how we have people from diagnosis 1997 to like a couple months ago. I think that's amazing. Welcome, y'all.
I wish none of us had a diagnosis.
I just had to laugh on the weather issue because we had tornadoes here, like an F4 on Saturday, and then the next day we got 5 inches of snow. So
yeah, it was like 60 degrees yesterday, and it's 30 degrees right now.
So Karen, go ahead and ask your question for Christy.
Oh, well, I don't have to be first, but it might be relevant to other people too. But
well, I'll mention before you go, if anyone else has anything you want to talk about, you can discuss in the chat. You can put it in the chat, or you say, hey, I want to discuss this. Because I know some people are like me, who hate interrupting other people. So go ahead and feel free to use other forms of media, and we'll try to get the conversation to where we need to go. So, okay, go ahead. That's my.
Yeah, well, my back steps are very dangerous. They're like frighteningly dangerous. And I tried last July to get some help, and that went south. And then I just get gun shy when things don't work out. And then I reached out to the Center for Independent Living, which is probably the first center for disability rights, disability advocacy in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And so I reached out in January, and I thought I had the residential person, but instead it was the technology person, and she was great. And then I just didn't hear back from the guy, or it just was tedious. Everything is tedious. And can you this? And I was not looking forward to it. I was, but I wasn't. And I was really worried. And as soon as he walked in the house, we were like this. We were just like engaged. And he's great. And so he really knows, because I was concerned, am I going to be able to stay in my house? And he's like fixed wheelchairs for 25 years. And he just he said he's going to write something up. I think I'm going to have to prod him about whatever, because before the visit, he said, you live in Oakland, so I just need to tell you that, we can't pay for the modification. It was like, oh, who expected that? Who knew that in Berkeley they pay for it? I just thought he was going to make me pay for the visit. And I was like, I can't handle that. I just want, So he came over and we just had a great conversation about access and wheelchairs. And, you can talk to a doctor who tells you to go get a scooter without thinking about, can I manage a scooter when I have poor balance and poor control? And so, he saw the neighborhood, the logistics and all that. So I just felt like, wow, I'm in good hands. And he said, yeah, I think, you need like a jazzy wheelchair, just to even be talking about that. I don't need it yet, but, just you'll be able to do that. It's a small footprint. And, if you had like a hefty scooter, you can go around the neighborhood, but that little one they wanted to order for you, that's not, you'll tip over around here. And then, we were just outside looking around. I said, am I going to be able to stay here? And there's birds chirping out there. He goes, where else? I'm like, I don't want to live anywhere else. And he's like, it's amazing here. You got the birds, you've got, and all that. So it really made me feel like, first of all, I got it off the to-do list and finally nailed them. But now the project, he said, well, I think the best thing for you is to get an elevator put in. And it's, it's not cheap. And I also have to fix some cement. So I don't know how, and so I thought of Christy. It's like, okay, getting funding and trying to get some funding for it. What's the process?
With mine, I definitely reached out to the MS Society. She gave me tons and tons of places that to fill out for grants for help with home modification. Now, the MS Society, they will also help with home modification. The only downfall to that is that you have to find your own contractor. And then once you get a quote from them or anything like that, you would then submit it to them. I was lucky enough to get all my ducks in a row. I did a GoFundMe, raised some money for my stair lift. And then she was telling me that the MS Society typically only does like a $3,000 grant. But fortunate for me, I only had like $4,300 left on my stair lift, and they approved the $4,300. So they took care of the balance after I put the deposit down.
You mean
and then
who's they? The MS Society or who?
Yes.
Or the so
MS Society.
So then I just wanted to know the steps. Like, are you supposed to get this funding from someplace else and then they just pick up whatever, or?
No. You can. But we were able to raise the funds and also, adjust our books to put down a big portion of the stair lift. And then that only left us like $4,300 left on the stair lift. That would be due by the time of install.
That was just your process. I don't think it's a problem finding contractors here because, the Center for Independent Living, like that's what they do, that kind of thing. So I just, all right, I'll reach out to the MS Society. There was someone I had, who remembers, right? I have an email somewhere from someone, and I guess I'll just bring it up and see what they have to say.
Right.
But
You know,
anyway,
and then she also, I don't know if they're nationwide, but I think they are. They're called Home Builders Foundation. She directed me in the direction of them to apply for a grant. And I was kind of at a crossroad because now that I'm not walking, I need to get a roll-in shower. And also I needed to get like a vanity in our bathroom that was wheelchair height with a sink. So that was something else that we started to work on as far as saving. And so I submitted an application with them, and they review once a month on projects that they decide that they want to pick up. So I actually heard back from them last week, and they've decided to pick up my project. So that was pretty amazing to me, because Steve and I were kind of putting aside around 10 to 12,000 to modify our bathroom so that I can use the bathroom, like take a shower, brush my teeth, you know, everything else, you know. So they were amazing. And I just heard back from them again today. They're going to come do a site visit next Tuesday. Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. Like, just putting in all of these grants to ask for help when you're somebody who doesn't really ask for help often, and then they come through. It feels pretty good. But yeah, I would definitely look up homebuildersfoundation.org. So
and then what about
that
the
was,
MS? What about the MS Foundation?
Can I make a recommendation?
yes.
Sure.
Call the MS Society in Oakland. Ask to speak to Stuart Ferry.
Is there is no MS Society in Oakland. I think there's one in San Francisco, but what's his name?
San
Stuart
Francisco.
what?
Ferry, Ferry. And go ahead and drop my name. I won't do you any good, but
Oh yeah, you know him, forget it.
I've known him for 25 years. So
Okay.
Amelia, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Amina Grant. I'm from New York, and I currently live in Florida. Been diagnosed about 12 years now, and not on any medication right at this time, but that process is actually for real happening now. And I'm just really happy to be here. Like just coming out. I'm sorry that I was late, but just being here with you guys, it really I like being here.
We're glad you made it back.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm in a landmark class, which is a really great course, but I actually was triggered from somebody, and it had to do with her perspective on chronic illnesses. Oh, once you start doing this kind of this work that we're gonna have for you, all that's gonna go away. That MS is gonna go away. And I looked at her and I said, if that's what you're telling people that have chronic illness, that is extremely irresponsible to tell anybody that. And I'm still a little shaken from it, but it's just like, I guess she meant well, but you shouldn't tell people something like that. I'm not looking to have a magic trick happen and poof, MS is gone. I'm just trying to experience life the best I can in spite of MS. And I don't know. I just thank you for letting me vent that out, because this just happened today. And I just, like I said, think that's really irresponsible to tell somebody like that. So tell somebody something like that. And there really was nobody that can really relate. But now I'm here, and I know that you guys can relate to that on one end of the spectrum or another. So yeah, there you go.
It's awesome.
And
Yeah.
we get being late too. So
Yeah.
I feel like, that's just a given. You've got multiple sclerosis. It takes like maybe a little bit longer to get ready to get yourself out the door. So we so get that.
Thank you.
You're with
Mine
your
is getting out of bed. Like getting out of
Yeah.
bed, just sit there. I'm like, it's time to get up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I had a similar situation with a therapist recently who literally told me that the reason I have MS and the reason I have symptoms is because I don't love myself enough.
Aw.
Ouch. Did you fire them, Tiffany?
Oh, yes, I did. I have a
Find
new
another
therapist now.
replacement.
I already have a replacement, so who seems a little less crazy like that. So,
I have
I had
an article for you, Tiffany. I used to have my boyfriend who passed away. He was a sociologist, and he wrote this journal article like some 30 years ago. And, I was trying to figure out like who is this guy, and I find this article, and it was the psychology of auto repair, and the psychologist is saying, the person comes in and says, my car won't start, and it's like, really, your car won't start? What do you mean? What do you think it is? How do you feel about your car that it won't start? and so, how you can manipulate anyone and saying, if you loved your car more, I think it would start. That crap's been going on for a long time.
I had an experience last week that really made it kind of hard to do what Karen was saying about, like trying to love yourself more. Like this was something that caused a lot of like sadness. All right. So I think most of you remember that I was scheduled to have a kidney surgery a couple weeks ago. It was for a stone removal. Surgery went fine. Everything was cool. Recovery was going along just fine. But then my wife had to remove the 10-inch stent that they left in. And that was left in on purpose to help the fragments of the centimeter large stone that was in there. And trust me, it helped. So she removed it. Everything was fine. I got out of bed and tried to kind of like start my morning, and I went into shock. All right. I was in my chair at the time. Melissa got me out to the living room, and after 20 minutes of me just like shaking and shuddering, she called 911. So they came over, got me calmed down, did everything, and they said, honestly, we'd rather have you home than at the hospital because there's just a crazy flu going through right now. And there's really nothing better that you would do at the hospital that wasn't at home. So I slept for the day. Because of incontinence, of course, peed on the mats, had incontinence, but I didn't think about, like, it was tough to move me enough to change the bedding, all right? And that continued for another day or so. And so I started to have pain on my side. So now I'm curing and working through an acid burn on my side from my own urine. So that sucks. And I feel dirty and gross, and it hurts. It stings like a sunburn. And every time I move, I stretch that little area out. So that's not very good. So I haven't been able to work in gosh, 2 weeks just from recovery and everything. For everyone else, does like, I know we're all different, but does like healing time take longer for you because of MS? Do you feel, you know what I mean? Like if you've had like surgery or something like that, or have you guys ever experienced it taking like a long time?
Yes.
Medication,
Yeah.
depending on your medication, because my understanding, which I could be wrong, is that it suppresses your white blood cells, and your white blood cells is what helps you heal quicker.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
that is the unfortunate part of having to take, the medication.
Yeah.
So
And another awesome thing happened at the same time. So name brand Ampera is very expensive and has like a $3,000 copay for me. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't afford that. And so it took me about a week to get it switched over to um, generic and get it switched to the, yeah, to get it switched to the right pharmacy, which was a specialty pharmacy, blah, 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 blah. Needless to say, I was without Ampera for a week while this other stuff was going on with bladder things. So, I wasn't moving very much and I felt really shitty about that.
Did you notice with Ampera, because I stopped it for a very short while and my movement was hard, just my mobility was hard, my hand
Yeah.
thing, I was more incontinent of both. Well, I wasn't incontinent of stool, but I had like more urgency. So my neurologist said that it's well, actually it was the nurse, but she said it's very short acting, and so if you don't take it, you'll
Yeah.
notice, and as soon as you get it back, and it was $3,500, and now it's like $54, and I don't have copays, but yeah, generic. So like, yeah, everybody, don't just go for the, oh, it's $3,500. Like, is there another
Yeah.
way?
It was just weird. Like that was just really shocking. They're like, hey, we're having a billing problem. We tried to charge your credit card $3,900 or something. Like, no, because
Did you
that won't work.
notice though? Did you notice when you took the Ampera? Because Frank isn't into
Yeah.
it. He said, "Oh, that's old." But did you notice that it helped you?
Oh, so much, so very, very much. Like surprisingly, so much. Like I
Especially
almost
because
get.
they say it helps. They say it helps with walking speed. Well, good luck with that, John. So but it helps other things.
No, it has helped other things, and honestly, the reason why I'm using a chair a lot of the time now is just from COVID recovery to kidney surgery recoveries. Got a lot of things that I'm trying to get better from.
Just out of curiosity, John, what was your copay for the generic when that was all said and done? It went from
Oh,
3,000 to what?
$10.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh, Dan, I see your question. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all good.
Okay.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
But to circle around your question, John, I
Yeah,
haven't noticed so much about healing because I thankfully haven't had a lot of issues, but when I get sick, it takes me a long time. That's why as soon as I feel kind of sick, my butt's in bed, I'm laying down, I'm hydrating because I
yeah,
learned a long time ago. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore it and just work through it. I was sick for weeks. It took me a long time to bounce back. So I've learned that one the hard way. So I'm very, I feel
yeah.
kind of sick today, just a little bit. I'm laying in bed and I'm like, nope, taking the day off, keeping it easy, gotta stay well. So.
Just remember, because Pedialyte is meant for kids, great Pedialyte is really good when you're sick.
Yeah, Amanda will tell the pharmacist will recommend that for hydration all the time for all ages, not just for kids.
Yeah.
they have Pedialyte for adults now. I don't know if you guys have seen the commercials for them, but they have specialized Pedialyte for adults. It's like it's the same stuff.
I was thinking like for adults, like it has a little bit of vodka in it because I think that those are going in two separate directions.
In a case, in a case of
Jeez.
that stuff.
I forgot. Amanda said hangovers. I completely forgot about that. That's also recommended for Pedialyte for hangovers. I totally forgot about that, Amanda.
Ooh, and I also started drinking Ensures. You know, Kanye West was right when he's like, an Ensure gets me up in the morning, and whatever the other one is says he puts him to sleep at night. But I just, yeah. Boost. Thank you, Amanda.
I have a question I would like to ask.
I had an episode of dehydration 2 years ago. It was just because we had fires and we were stuck in the house, and I'm cold sensitive, not heat. So it really takes me a while to go, oh wait, is that a heat wave? It's been 3 days, or to use a fan, and I passed out. It was just a weird episode, and I tried to get in touch with a neighbor, and I was just out of it. And my next door neighbor he was afraid to come in. It's COVID time, but they have a little kid, so they brought over Pedialyte. One neighbor said, I think you're dehydrated, and he brought over Pedialyte, but that was the only time I'd ever had that.
Ronnie, what was your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if other people experience what I've been experiencing lately. I'm, the slope that we all go down, can go like this and it can go like this, and mine is going like this lately. And I've developed tactile inability. I'm like I keep dropping small things, and I'll be holding a fork and I try to put it down on the plate and it falls instead. Does anybody else have anything like that they're kind of like the fingers aren't working?
Yeah.
all the time.
I really want to say that everything that starts happening, I'm like, oh no, that's not from MS. It can't be MS. But it apparently, okay, it is. I had a really bad experience this past week, which sent me into a tailspin, and that's why I'm going to the doctor tomorrow and getting all these MRIs and whatnot. I was, excuse me, walking down 3rd Avenue in Manhattan. Just everything was fine, walking down 3rd Avenue, and all of a sudden I couldn't walk. My legs were going 2 different directions, completely lost my balance. I was holding on to buildings so I didn't fall. I'm like, what am I going to do now? And I'm holding onto the building, And I started to feel a little bit better, and I had an errand to do at Home Depot. And for some stupid reason, I still can't imagine, I thought it'd be okay to try going to Home Depot. I got to Home Depot. I'm walking around the aisle, and I can't. I'm suddenly in the middle of an aisle in Home Depot, and I'm swaying back and forth, looking for something to hold on to. Almost fell, finally grabbed onto the end of one of those long aisles, and a young man came up and said, would you like a chair? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'd like a chair. And I sat there in the chair in the middle of this aisle in Home Depot with people walking past me, because New York, it's like whatever, just completely freaking out because I couldn't walk. Suddenly, I couldn't walk. My husband had to come and get me and kind of half carry me home. It was so, I mean, this is the slope I'm going down now, and now my fingers aren't working. And does anyone else have this like slippery slope that's like all of a sudden gotten really more slippery? Is that how it works?
If you're start of a flare, yeah, everything can go. I mean, I went from everything okay to in 5 days, my left eye went completely blind, like completely black, and another thing. So yeah, it sounds like you're a start of a flare with everything so abruptly just.
Yeah.
But that's why you're having that emergency appointment. You said
Yeah.
that's tomorrow.
Yeah, they're bringing me in for an MRI, 2 MRIs, brain and neck. He's looking for spinal lesions, and a physical therapy visit and a visit with my doctor. They bring you from one floor to the next. So yeah, I'm a little more comforted knowing that this is what
Mhm.
everybody goes through. It makes me feel, I mean, it doesn't make me feel better, but it makes me feel better. You know what I mean?
You're not
And
alone.
Marnie,
We have experienced this in the group. Yes.
Yeah. I would just really, in my head somehow, oh, it's not from MS, when I know that it is. Okay.
by
I
chance, Ronnie, do you have a cold or do you have like a UTI or do you have
That's
any?
that's the first thing they asked me. The only reason I'm coughing now is because I had this really weird procedure done on my septum, and the doctor said you're going to feel like you have a cold for 3 days. So this is, I don't actually have a cold. This is the leftover from that. But no, I have no infection. I have felt fine. There's no UTI. There's nothing. I feel fine. So I don't know. It's once I went off Copaxone and onto a crevice, there's this thing in my head that, oh, you're not really getting treated anymore because you're not taking these shots, even though I know I am. I've got this Ocrevus in my system. So we'll see what my doctor says tomorrow. I really feel a lot better knowing that these awful things that are happening to me are normal awful things. So thanks.
Normal.
When did you get the infusion?
December 15th.
Oh, it was a while ago. Because,
Yeah.
they give you that prednisone so you feel real perky for a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel great until I was so immune compromised that I got COVID. But that's
Well, I don't, yeah, my hand's getting weaker and weaker. And that was definitely one of the things that I didn't even know I had MS. I didn't even know I was supposed to ask for help, but I used to work on music every day, and then I'd write down what songs I did, transpose them into different keys, and write stuff down. And then I found myself, and that was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and then found myself saying, I'll just write that later. I can really see in my journal how I wasn't doing it, and I have to give somebody some money. She bought tickets for me, and it's like, you can write a check. It's like, oh, it's so hard for me to write a check. So, just a slight amount of fatigue, a slight amount of whatever. But, I came in, everybody's here, and I'm happy to see everybody, and I'm feeling good. I went swimming today for an hour. I didn't swim, but I walked, and I hadn't been in the pool because it had been cold. And then, I'm excited about that, and I'm writing down, and I wrote down homebuildersfoundation.org, and I wrote it so neatly, so nicely, and so effortlessly that I was like, I want to tell everybody. I wasn't going to say that, but so yeah, and I drop things, but sometimes, when you're in that zone, it's just like, oh, I forgot that I can't write. So I picked up a pencil and I literally forgot. Oh, wow. So
yeah, I
it
find that
comes and
really
goes.
telling. Yeah, my handwriting comes and goes within 10 minutes. Yeah.
I think it's the thing that's frustrating about MS is sometimes it can come and go, and it's very unpredictable, and then some things kind of go and they don't come back, or if it's like just a long temporary, it'll slowly come back. And I think that's one of my biggest frustrations is how unpredictable it can be. And then someone like my brother, just out of curiosity, said like, so when do you think you'll be in a wheelchair? And I'm like, I have no clue. I have friends younger than me. I have friends older than me. It just depends on the disease. I said, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll take a long, long time. But, because we're talking about building on one of my grandma's lots. And the only big thing I have about it is like, it has to be wheelchair accessible. I want a garage that someone can pull in with a van. They can drive with in the wheelchair and the van and get out of the garage in the wheelchair and get in the house. You know what I mean? Like the whole big. And he's like, well, when do you think you'll be in a wheelchair? I'm like, I don't know. It may never happen, but be prepared. Because I don't want to do the back build and have to change things. I'm like, and all the doorways need to be, be able to get wheelchair in, like all that stuff. So, but
I still don't have my office door up yet because the wheelchair can't get through with the door on, so that's just back there.
That's okay. That's where my bathroom door is.
Yeah, the chair doesn't fit in anything, which is fine. I mean, we get around, but yeah, usually once or twice a week, Melissa and I will think about like, oh my God, if that $1 lotto ticket pays off and we can build a handicapped paradise for you, John, and like everything will be perfect. And we dream about that kind of stuff, which is weird. Usually when you're dreaming about your dream home, you're like, oh, I want bay windows here and skylight. You know, like, well, I want to make sure that the doorways are at least 36 inches wide.
That we have tall toilets and we have a roll-in sink and a roll-in shower, roll under sink. Yeah.
We had a thing at work the other day. It was like an icebreaker thing, and the question was, if you, just won $1 million, what's the first thing you would do with it? And everyone's like going trips and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I would get a brand new handicap accessible wheelchair with a ramp that works,
A van.
or a van with a van that works. Just and so then you feel like a buzzkill, say, oh, I want an accessible van. And so,
Does anyone remember that game show Press Your Luck with like the whammies and it went around and doot doot doot? It came back like 2 summers ago, and on the first episode, like you can win, of course, more and more prizes and money, but they would start putting prizes that were personalized. You know what I mean? And someone put on there like an accessible van for their mom.
Oh,
And of course, Melissa and I are like in tears, like, oh my gosh. And she got it. It was like a whole setup. Everything was amazing.
wow.
It was like, wow, yeah, like yay, MS.
What was the name of that? Because it sounds like Queen for a Day. Like, maybe Frank's heard Queen for a Day. My grandmother used to watch it, and they're like, I need a washing machine. I have 8 children. I have this. So what's the name of that program?
Press Your Luck.
Oh, Trust Your Luck. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Queen
I
for
wanted to know. Oh, John, when you got the wheelchair, because I'm just seeing how, somebody pushes a button, someone says do this, someone says get that, someone says try that. And the mobility clinic guy, this doctor said, get this cheap ass scooter that doesn't work, without anybody even, knowing where do I live, how many homes like have space for extra stuff, and especially where I live. And I talked to the mobility guy and he's like, well, we want to keep you active and and I'm limited by what Medicare will pay for. So I was wondering, how do you even, oh, someone's calling and is going to leave a message and I can't turn the volume off. Let me bury the phone. So how do you even decide what to get?
Oh, that's actually a thing that we're working through right now. Like we had to get one that supported my weight, and we didn't know how long term this would be, so we've been renting it by the month, and they're charging insurance for that. All right, so that when I do get one picked out, that's the perfect chair and everything. Um, they can bill that to insurance because they don't want to bill the one I currently have to insurance because it's a big, heavy model, and I am
that's why it
losing.
doesn't fit. Okay.
Yeah, and I am losing weight and getting more active, and so we're shopping for like a smaller wheelchair. There's like, I live in the smallest city in anywhere, population 10,000 when the students are here, and I know that people from university towns know exactly what that means. Um, like, ooh, last year we got our Culvers. Oh my gosh, everyone celebrate. Um, so I don't have a lot of options for like going to different doctors or different medical supply warehouses, but the one we do have, I'm just going to go in and try different things out, see what I like, see what fits.
We're waiting on my customized wheelchair. And I contacted a medical supply company that is a few towns away from me, and they came up and they did all the measurements and things that I need on the specific wheelchair. So they came to me. I didn't have to go to them, which was a great thing, which was nice. And then the only thing I had to do was go to a physical therapist so they could do a seat evaluation. So that's something that had to be done with the medical supply equipment company and my insurance to get it approved, because it is a customized wheelchair. Now this wheelchair is going to come in, it's going to weigh, he said, roughly between 12 and 14 pounds total. So that's kind of nice, considering now the one that I have is 26 to 28 pounds or something like that. It's very cumbersome to get it all wrapped. My husband to pick it up, put it in the car, or pick it up, bring it upstairs, pick it up, take it downstairs. So it's going to be a lighter wheelchair. It's going to have more it's going to be customized more to me being able to operate my wheelchair at its best capacity. So, but the only caveat on that is that we got it all submitted early February, but it's going to take 60 to 90 days to be built and be delivered to me. So it's like everything's a waiting process. So that's the hard part. Everything is testing one's patience. How well can you keep it? So that's the only.
So it's that lightweight. So you're just gonna fully use it with both hands?
Yep.
And then there's probably an option to even attach some fine little motor to it.
Yeah, it's called Smart Assist. That is something that we're kind of, after speaking with the medical equipment guy, that we're kind of just waiting on to order something like that, because if I do the Smart Assist, then I have, and let's just say I do the Smart Assist later this year, and then next year, say I can no longer operate a manual wheelchair or operate the Smart Assist, and I have to go to a power wheelchair, insurance will not cover it, because that Smart Assist is considered like a motorized device. And so I'd have to wait 5 years before I got approval from my insurance to get the power wheelchair. So, that's just something, I'm just gonna kind of wait it out.
Well, it's good that you know about it, because that's what I was asking when the first doctor, put a scooter, and it's like, well, where would I scoot to in my hilly neighborhood? But and then I talked to the high mobility clinic, because he's the one who orders it. And I was wondering why he was doing that with wheelchair, because he's saying, we don't want you in a wheelchair, until you have to be in one. And I said, but I heard you can only get something every 5 years. And he said, well, it's not exactly true. So it's like what you're saying, there's just so many things you don't know. You don't know, like Ampera could cost $3,500, or it can cost $54, or don't get one. And I think most people that are disabled, it's, they had an injury and something happened, and then, but with us, it's constant. It's just constant. You're losing more and more function, and to have to imagine what I'm going to need in 3 years, like Ronnie, you're like, no, it's not really MS. No, it's not that. It's just, it's horrifying, really.
I have had a Smart Drive on a manual wheelchair for 7 years, and it finally died on me about 6 months ago. And of course, it's winter time, so I don't need to be out rolling around anywhere in town. So I have been denied a replacement wheelchair by the Social Security Administration twice. And
Is that Medicare? You mean like Medicare?
By Medicare, 2 times in the past 3 months. It's just a matter of being persistent, and they'll finally cave. They just caved last week. And again, it's exactly what you said, Karen. It's 5 years, and I could have got another smart drive. But if I really got worse, I've got a serious problem because they won't replace it again for 5 more years. So yeah, I know it's a struggle, but you got to hang in there and fight. That's all you got to do is say no.
When you have cognitive issues, it's like, what?
No,
What was your question, Jennifer? You want to talk about that?
Okay, I've had some like pain in my hands for like months, and I'm waiting on my insurance to kick in because I had my job doesn't carry insurance because I work off of grants. So trying to find an insurance was fun. But I hurt, like it's horrible. Washing hands, like my hands touching in between my fingers, it's like I don't even know how to explain it. It hurts. Hot water, warm water, cold water, it sucks. So that's what I'm having issues with, and swallowing. Which is scary because it's like you forget how to swallow.
Yeah, that swallowing thing always gets me. I'm afraid it's going to be like ALS, where one day I just won't be able to swallow anymore. And I know that's not going to happen, but it is really scary.
It's
Yeah.
scary because I like, even if I was like sipping a drink, it just comes automatically out, and I'm just like, oh, embarrassing. Ugh.
I've learned ways to keep it down.
It's
But
one
yeah,
of those things you can't take for granted. Whenever I drink, I have to be really paying attention and like consciously like swallow, or I understand. I'm sorry. So with your hands, is it like because you're washing your hands so much your skin hurts, or it's more inside the hand?
it's like on this, like let's say I just do this, it's gonna hurt, but it hurts. It just hurts. Like the
Ooh.
nerves.
Are you talking about grazing your hands? Yeah, that's neuropathy. That's definite neuropathy. And does a shower hurt your hands?
Ugh. When I
Yeah.
got my perm, I wasn't able to wash my hair for a while. That was
Yeah.
heaven for me.
Yeah.
So.
And can you actually can you grab your hand like this without pain? Not grazing it, but actually touching it?
I could do
grabbing?
that. I could do
Yeah,
that.
that doesn't hurt, right?
Right.
Okay, so yeah, that's neuropathy. That's what I have. Exactly.
I need my hands.
Yeah.
I grew up Italian, so we're always talking to them.
I grew up Jewish, same thing.
Has anything helped you, Ronnie?
Well, my situation's a little bit more complicated because the neuropathy that I have is not 100, but it's a surgery that went bad.
Okay.
That caused nerve damage, but if I didn't have MS, it would not be this bad. So the MS exacerbated an injury that happened during surgery. So what I have now is what's it called? Oh my God, complex regional pain syndrome, and that's exactly what you're talking about. So did you have any kind of accident at all? Did you hurt your hands? Did anything happen to them? Or this is just out of nowhere? Yeah, that's
It was
MS.
actually out of nowhere, but when I was younger, I thought, I was I was what's that word? Invincible. Yeah, that I wouldn't get hurt. So I thought it was smart to ride my roller skates down a really steep driveway. And I broke my wrist in like 7 different places. and I didn't cry. That's how crazy I am. But that's really the only thing I've done.
Yeah, so that's many, many years ago. That wouldn't complex regional pain syndrome is only from a surgery or an accident, like a recent accident.
Right.
But mine is just made worse by the MS. So I don't know if anybody else here has exactly that, but what you're talking about is
It's crazy. Like,
yeah, it is. This sheet hurts my arm at night. I can't bear the feel of the sheet on my arm.
yeah. And I'm an underarm pillow, stomach girl. So like now I have to lay my hands a certain way, and like I said, like I work at the Wayne County Health Department because I'm washing my hands all the time, and it's like it's hell. It is hell.
Yeah, that's a real classic neuropathy. I don't know if anybody else has it exactly the same way, but mine is exactly the same as yours. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a name for it. I just can't remember it right now. It's not paresthesia. It's I can't think of it.
So I'm
But
doing
yeah.
like a bunch of YouTubing. I'm looking at like anything, and I'm not getting. I don't know. I listened to oh God, what's his name? Oh, he's a neurologist in Ohio. What is his name?
Boster. Aaron Boster.
Yes. I'll tell you what. I found him when I first got diagnosed. I'm telling you, if anybody has not listened to his YouTube, he really explains so much. He explains, I can understand. Aaron Boster.
Can you put it in the chat?
Huh?
When you get a chance, can you put it in the chat?
Yes. But yeah, just Aaron Boster. Thank you, Kim. And it's YouTube. It's on YouTube, and he goes live. And I'm trying to chat up. What's up with neuropathy of the hands? Come on now. Like, what is that all about? Because it hurts.
Yeah.
I love him.
I guess you can take a look at the complex regional pain syndrome page and see if people ask if anything else feels like that. But I don't know if that's an MS thing exactly the way that I feel it. Like, does anybody else here have that with the like?
I think Amanda was saying that she's the one told me about it, and I looked up and I was like, "That's it."
Yeah.
So mine is I get like numbness in my hands and tingling, and so that is worsened with like heat. So like I can't wash my hands with really hot water, or it starts really exacerbating. What helps me is because it's the nerve, to me, what in my experience, it feels like it's trying to feel for something, but by doing those light motions or getting the sensory halfway activated, that's what causes it. So for me, it's like doing a lot of stretching and things like this, like intentionally.
Yeah, the lady that I was seeing on YouTube was doing this. I was doing this all day.
Yeah, so this I do like this and like stretch my hands out, and that helps a lot. For me, I don't know where your lesions are, but mine my lesions are in the top of my spinal cord. So when I look up for a prolonged period of time, that makes it significantly worse. So I always have to watch my neck posture and making sure like I can't like lay on my stomach and look up, or if I'm in a wonky position, like my hands will feel it within a minute. So those kinds of things might be triggers of how you look at your phone, how you're doing certain things might be exacerbating it a little bit more.
And when I sneeze, like, and this is another thing that because if I don't write things down, I forget until it happens. But when I sneeze and electric shocks go down my arms and into those hands, and I'm just like, what just happened?
Probably where your lesion is then. To me it sounds like you're accidentally activating it, because that's exactly what it feels like when wherever like I am, since it's right in my neck, if I look a certain way, I get it all like a whole shock
like
through my body. Yeah.
And it's
so
like,
I don't know if you know exactly where your lesions are, like either in your brain or if you have them in your spinal cord. But
No, the last one I have, I don't have it in my spinal, but it's all up here. It's all my brain.
but maybe trying to self educate on how the brain works, because there might be something that's triggering. I know it sounds kind of silly, like we're not
No, I
brain
mean,
people.
that's what I've been trying to find. And of course, I don't have the best neurologist ever. Like the first time I've ever seen my brain scan was the first time in 2019. I've had four MRIs since then. I've not seen them.
I think the last thing that I can advise on is being like your own lab rat and being like, oh, when I do that, really hurts. Oh, that makes it better. And just start writing things down and then figuring it out. That's how I figured it out, of like typing for a really long time. Hands are on fire. So maybe don't do that. Different things like that, or posture. It's usually those weird things that you didn't think had anything to do with it that might be triggering it. Or you honestly just might be in the middle of a bit of a flare. And this might just be like your new symptom. So just paying attention to it. Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting shocked every time.
Yeah, I get like tingles in my lip and I'm like, this is fun. Like
I don't know if
are you okay? Like, I just got shocked with a sneeze.
Is anybody here on medication for neuropathy? So I'm on.
I took Gabapentin for just a small bit of time, and that made me hit the floor. And then I was on Cymbalta to help with neuropathy, which I got off of.
What was the first thing you said?
Gabapentin, also known as Neurontin.
So I was on Neurontin with my first MS doctor, and my second one took me off it. I'm on pregabalin now, but that's for my pain management specialist. But it's very similar. Yeah, it's very helpful. I could not live without that drug. I take it 3 times a day, and I could not. I could just to. I was without a pill for more than 6 hours the other day, and I was in so much pain just being without that pill. It helps me immensely, but what might help you in addition to that, and it's entirely up to you, I shouldn't tell you what to take, but for my own, you know, for what helps me, there's a compound cream that has gabapentin and lidocaine and amitriptyline and nortriptyline and like 5 different drugs in it. And I rub it on and feel better immediately. My hands stop burning, and it's really. I'll put it in the chat for you. If am I allowed to do that? Like put medication names in the chat? Is that like?
Oh, we do that all the time. Absolutely.
Okay, just checking because I'm not a doctor. I'm not.
You might have to beat Amanda to it though, because she's probably already on it.
Okay.
And she can spell it right the first time too. So if you ask her nicely, she'll probably put the generic and then like brand in parentheses or something.
And tell you where you can get it, get it covered by some special
No,
brand.
she won't really know that because that's really specialized with your insurance.
But she's still good with that. So I'm wondering if I would have never even asked this, but a few years ago, before I was even diagnosed, I've had numbness in my right hand for 20 years. So I've noticed that change going on. I don't get pain, but it's numbness. And I know Jennifer and other people were saying, I like having 2 hands. So do I. But I really am a one-handed person now. I'm a one-legged person and a one-handed person. And since I put that left foot accelerator in my car and I got in the car today and I was like, oh, I'm used to driving with that's called driving now. I don't think about it. But I am a one-handed person. And if I lose the other hand, that's going to be painful. But I was getting burning in my feet, along with the numbness. I used to have like a burning sensation like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I would tell my doctor and, everything was, oh, it's all in your head. Well, no, it's in my spinal cord, actually, in my neck. But has anyone else had that kind of, the description that you're talking about in your hand, in your feet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
It's,
problems
it's
with
not,
my feet, but it comes and goes. It's not all the time.
It's not unbearable. It's just I feel like my feet are burning, and I'm always cold. So you know, like for me, burning feet would be a good thing. You know. So that you think
Yeah,
is MS?
I'm sorry, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt. The burning of the feet really, I get it so bad that I feel, and it goes up to my hips sometimes. And the only way that I can really describe the pain is like, if you can imagine like walking through lava. And I mean, and it's something that is really ridiculous to think about, but when it's at its worst, that's what it feels like. It's pretty severe neuropathy. And one of probably the main reason why I know I need to get on medication, because it's bad. And yeah, that's my main symptom is neuropathy in my legs. Pretty much all the time, consistently.
Without my medication, my arms would be on fire, and they would be if I had to go on medical. But that's exactly right. Like walking on lava, like putting your hand in lava. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, so that's
So,
what it is.
when do you think you'll see a doctor to maybe get on medication?
I have an appointment for my first MRI in like 10 years. And so once I have the MRI is when, I'm assuming she'll be able to tell, how compared to my first one and this one, how much it's progressed. Um, and then I wanted to ask some of you guys about medication. Capoxone has always been what people have said is the best thing, but the idea how you have to how you have to do it to yourself is a bit traumatizing for me. And I was thinking hopefully that it'd be better just if I'm able to do um I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
The infusions?
The infusions, yes, thank you. Because I feel like, one time every few months may be easier to handle than implementing a shot every day. But I
My
have to
first
see.
reaction to that, Amina, is that the shots are an older type of therapy, and the pills and the infusion are newer. So
Okay,
I would lean toward the newer ones.
the newer,
That's my
yeah.
personal opinion. I don't.
And,
Everyone else.
So
and
I'm
I've been
actually
someone
on.
for 5 years. My drug of choice was 5 years worth of Paxone, and I was fine for 5 years until I wasn't. And then
Hmm.
once I started sliding, my doctor put me on infusion. But the shot is not bad. It really isn't. You don't actually have to stick it directly into your leg. It's not bad. The only problem I had with it was what it did to my legs and the divots that it caused. But it was fine with me. So I wouldn't be, if you're worried about needles, don't worry about that. Don't be, it's not bad, really.
I'm on Copaxone now. I
Okay.
only have to do injections 3 days a week.
Mm,
And the auto injector, like the drug company I worked with was Beatrice. They sent me an auto injector, and it's so much easier because it doesn't feel like I'm actually injecting myself. So if that's the way that they want to
okay.
go, definitely get the auto injector.
Right.
um, I am only on Copaxone for a while. The plan is in the future to switch me to something else because it is an older line drug.
Hmm.
Trying to have children, so hoping to get pregnant soon. And it's the one that they know that if I'm taking it while I get pregnant, that it's definitely safe for a child. So even my neurologist is like, this is only until you're done having kids, and then we're gonna switch you to something else.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Yeah. Thank
And
you.
I did
I'll say
see,
that.
speaking of pregnancy, I did see that they are trying to find candidates that um who hook like Ocrevus and they've ended up pregnant in the 6 months, sometime in that 6 months, to see if it has affected anything with the child. So, and I did get an email about that. So I do see that they are trying to make progressive moves towards pregnancy and, not kind of limiting people who want to have children that are on these DMTs,
Mm.
to have a better case study as to whether or not there's any side effects or anything like that. So that's good to know.
They did also tell me that once I am pregnant, they're gonna take me off of the Copaxone because your body like fights MS on its own while you're pregnant.
Mm.
Crazy. Like I've done research on that because I'm like, really?
Right.
I've done a lot of
Yeah,
research on that.
I did have a friend, she was pregnant with twins and she has MS. And during her MS, she had no complications. It was like she was a normal person. And then it was shortly after she had the twins, I think probably a month or two, that she started feeling the symptoms coming back.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they
it
say
is,
most people will have a relapse within 6 months of giving birth.
yeah.
That is
I've had
So
heartbreaking.
I've had
it's
people
like
say that.
trying to live
If
my
they
life
could just be
pregnant.
pregnant all the time with
I
MS, that
know.
would be amazing. That's what I've been told.
So is it
The whole time.
from what I've read about that is that it's in reference to the stem cells. And also what I wanted to ask you guys about is, okay, I read an article about going to like the Soviet Union or to Russia and getting a stem cell transplant. Is that a real thing?
Yes, people have
Yes.
gone all over places to get stem cell. And then what was the other thing that was really big with the cranial blood vessels that was really hot for a while? I can't even think of what it's called at the moment.
Oh yeah, the was like a hockey player thing is
It's like
Zamboni.
CR, I can't remember.
Or
But yes, no,
CVSI or CSVI.
something like that. Yeah, no, that's common, and I know they do some of that in the United States. I actually asked my neurologist one time, like, can I just get a stem cell? And he's like, I don't know if this is correct. He's like, there's like a such and such % chance of mortality, and I'm like, so. But they did do it, and some countries are more open to certain things versus the U.S. So yeah,
Right,
people
right.
do it, and you'll find.
My MS center is doing research into stem cell transplants, and they've been doing it. They are on stage 3 of their approval. I'm not sure what that means, but they've actually had clinical trials going on with positive results. So I don't know what other countries do, but the stem cell research is going on right on the floor where I'll be tomorrow.
Well, when
I
was
I
down at
looked
the
into
Mayo
it.
Clinic,
I looked
when I
into
was
it right, pretty much after I was diagnosed, because I live in California and people say, Karen, you're bigger than this. You can do, you can find other resources. And I said, that's great. Why don't you look into it for me? But nobody did. So I did a lot of research about that because Russia would be my last choice. Though I had a friend who's Russian, so she said, well, I'd go with you, but they do it in Puebla, Mexico. They do it in Israel, and I've lived there. I have citizenship there, so it's like, well, I'd go there. And then there's these blogs, and people write in England, and but there's a woman from Long Island, and she's like, I'm gonna be reborn, and she went to Israel, and she did blogs, and I watched quite a few people, so excited, I'm going to do this, and the woman in Long Island, she lost both of her legs and all her teeth fell out. I mean, what I read was like just, all this hope and then these horror stories of what happened. And I asked my MS specialist when I got diagnosed, and she's like, I don't think you want to look into that, now, but just it. I know they're doing it at the MS Center in New York, and they're looking into that, but from from the blogs I read, there was, and then I watched a YouTube of some guy in Israel, and he all of a sudden can walk the next day. But if it was so successful, why don't you hear about that now?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I don't know what's going on behind those closed doors. I know they're only using candidates who are primary progressive, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know about other research centers, but I'll ask my doctor tomorrow. He said they've been getting promising results. So
Oh no, that I would trust. I would trust the center in New York, the Tisch Center. Is that what it is?
yeah, yep.
I would trust that center. But these people just anecdotally saying, I'm going to do this, and it's like, and I speak Spanish, so I go to Puebla, Mexico, but nobody's really, and a lot of people from the UK and Europe, but nobody's really reported like, oh, hey, I'm fine, yeah.
I agree with you. But
Let's take a moment to welcome Tisha to the chat. Sorry it took us so long, Tisha. Say hello.
It's okay.
Hi,
Hello.
Tisha.
A couple of us have welcomed you in the chat room. I don't know if you can see the chat if you're on your computer or phone. We have a chat room here too.
Well, I'm on my phone, but no, I'm not tech savvy enough to see the chat.
That's okay. That's okay. So if it's okay, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from. Have you been, when were you diagnosed with MS? Are you on any therapy for it?
Yes. Well, I was actually diagnosed with sarcoidosis on 12/17. And in 12/19, I'm sorry, 12/8, in 2018, I began to have grand mal seizures with no explanation. And I'm the kind of person that once I find out about something, I almost hypochondriac it. I look for every source to just educate myself. And I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with the KISS organization, but they provided me with a pamphlet that is like the Bible. And long story short, I pushed and pushed for 6 months to have the test done to determine if I had the neurosarcoidosis or if I just had sarcoidosis of my lungs or maybe something else. And the spinal tap determined I did have multiple sclerosis. They went from there and they did the CT and MRI, and they found the lesions in my brain, my neck, on my spinal cord. But then it got complicated because my rheumatologist, and my pulmonologist who was treating me for the sarcoidosis kind of put up the white flag and said, you have MS. That's a lot more important. Let's get that under control first, and then we'll deal with the sarcoidosis. So my neurologist treated me with an infusion combination. I know one of the medications was either Remicade or Rituxan, and I did that. Initially was supposed to do that twice a year, and after in 2020, a visit with her determined that I have PPMS and that my baseline has diminished tremendously, and they're basically gonna treat my symptoms from this point on. And it took 3 visits for me to accept what she said. I actually had to have my aunt come with me because I heard her say, this is where you are now, and we're just going to treat your symptoms. But I still had just filed for temporary disability with my job and thought, well, okay, I just have to find something else that I can do in lieu of these 2 illnesses. And now in 2022, I've understood I need my disability. I don't know if that was too much or not enough, or
It was fantastic, just fantastic. Do you have any questions for this whole group of MSers tonight that you got us all here?
Well, I was very thankful for everything I was hearing. I guess my main question is, when you do find that you're trying to communicate with family members or caregivers, the first thing I know you've heard this is, "Oh, well, you look so good. I can't really."
Welcome
Well,
to
what?
the club, Tisha. Welcome to the club.
Tisha, we've all heard that.
We know
It,
we look good. I mean,
We're fantastic. We're fabulous.
exactly. I'm like, hey, if you can see my ends, I'm all cracked up in there. Sarcoidosis is having a little party because they're saying, okay, well, you're not messing with us anymore. And then once I did get the MS, which it appeared to, after my second brain and body MRI, it showed that they weren't progressing. But it also showed that they weren't leaving, and they didn't get any smaller. And so my biggest challenge has been my communication, because my cognitive skills are have diminished to a level I can't even explain. Some days I can talk a storm and go on and on for 2 hours, and then some days I could barely say or communicate. I want an egg sandwich, or what my name is. And I've had a speech therapist. She was very, very wonderful. But she also said on any given day, she doesn't know who she's coming in. Because sometimes I can speak to her like I'm speaking now, and then sometimes the words are right there, but they just don't come out.
That's
Preach. You are preaching to the choir.
Well,
I hear you, Tisha.
I
I
like
have
when I start a
dyslexia
conversation
and
and like
MS.
somehow I talk about something else. That's crazy. My mom's just like, "What the hell are you saying?" I don't know. I have MS, Mom. I don't know.
well, my son has, my only son, he's come up with a very creative moment, because I think some people call them brain freezes or senior moments. And so whenever I do something or have only a person who would with the illness know what is happening, he'll say, "Oh, Mom, remember you got sarcoidosis. You're fine. Oh, remember, Mom, you have MS. That's no big deal. You're fine." I'm like, okay, you're right. It makes me laugh. So
Well,
We
that's
have
Which
valid though, just
does
naming it and like understanding what it is, like brain fog, it happens. It is with the stress and all of like just understanding what is happening and that it's like not your fault. But I think we all have that we go off on tangents, we can't keep a thought in our head. You can't think of the word like pencil. You're like, what is the thing called? And you're like, you write with it, and you can't think of it. And you're like, this is ridiculous. So it's completely normal. Like we all deal with it. I know it doesn't make it better, but like validating that is normal, and it comes with your letters of MS.
and that's what's so beautiful about this realm right here. Because I know I don't have to be super explanatory for someone to say, "I got you. I know what you're talking about." But I did have to, a few weeks ago, just have a heart to heart with my aunt, because she tends to say, "Oh, I'm 62. I get that all the time." And, "Oh, well, yeah, depending on the weather, those bones are going to ache and you're just not going to feel good." And so I finally COVID and all, I went to her home and told her, "As much as I love you, I need you to understand something. When you tell me that what my symptoms are, oh, well, I have this, and oh, people have this, that diminishes the legitimacy of what I'm trying to tell you is not a normal thing." And if that person isn't dealing with MS or sarcoidosis, you can't say oh, well, yeah, I do this and I have this. No, it's not the same. And I really need you to stop doing that because you're making me a little upset. It's almost as though it's almost like she was just diminishing a lot of my symptoms and I wasn't comfortable with that. And I had to just have that heart to heart to let her know that's not a good way to help me deal with it.
I think they comes from a good place. They're trying to be empathetic, but they don't realize that it's not helpful. And I think we've talked about it before, but a lot of times uh, it's invisible for the most part, so people don't see it, so they don't understand it. It's almost like better, right, if you had like a bandage over your head where it's like, oh, obviously, something's wrong, but they don't see it, and then they're trying to relate to you in the way that they can, and because that's what their mind knows how to do. So like, good for you for having that conversation. I'll be honest, I kind of just like keep it in and I don't really tell people. I come here and we vent about it and we're like, oh yeah, who's got the tingles today, like uh, but a lot of people don't get it, and so like, good for you for just like having that conversation, because that I can't do that, and I tried and I just kind of gave up because it's like, you're not gonna get it, and it's more effort for me to like try to keep telling you that it's not that than just like letting it be and be like, oh yeah, I'm getting old.
Right, right. But and I'm gonna say this, and then that's my last soapbox. I'll pass the mic. But I have a very faithful family. They're very strong in their religion, and I also had to have that same conversation. One of the ladies in our women's group, she corrected me. She said, you're making the wrong confessions. You do not have sarcoidosis. You do not have MS. Don't speak that on yourself. And I quickly had to let her know I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. I was diagnosed with MS. So I'm not making a wrong confession by saying I have them and they are attacking my body. So God hears me and he knows where I'm coming from. He's going to heal me at at his pace, but he definitely doesn't want me to have a false conversation with him and pretend like I'm not really dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And until your name is Jesus, I thank you for that, but I don't need it. Thank you.
Amen.
I have my own relationship with God. When I call him, he knows talking to. He knows me.
I think we need your script so we can because we won't remember, because yeah, we get that stuff. I was talking to someone today and I like have words like, just occasionally like words. So I was talking about the highway patrol the highway patrol, and I was telling, I was explaining, it's my hairdresser's going to come next week. So I was explaining that, sometimes like a word like that as I talk to him and we're talking about the highway patrol, that little fumble, anyone can do that. Anyone can do it, but we do it and we know we're doing it. And, it's like, sure, it didn't bother him, but it bothers me because
I like when they try to correct you and then you feel like even more dumb and pissed off.
oh, I haven't had that. I get more what Tisha gets. You look great. Really. I can't believe you're 70. You seem fine.
Because I'll say a word wrong and then I'll get corrected. And I'm like, but my husband understands. I'm like, I'll ask him, did I say that right? Did I, and he's really comforting. But my stepdad, Lord love him, he's a pure Italian man, and he's just like, that's not how you say it, Dad. And I was like, okay, Dad, here's the lesson for you. Okay, I have MS. Okay, sometimes I don't get those words. Okay.
Let's circle back around to Louie had a question earlier in the chat. Did you want to go ahead and ask that, Louie?
Well, I mean, I was wondering have constant headaches because mine's never ending. And I drink water because I have this just always staying hydrated. Um, yeah, it
When did
doesn't
your
seem to
headache
go
start,
away.
Louis?
Um, During pretty much my first flare up. Yeah.
Do you get headaches in the morning more? Like wake up
Yeah.
with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if I could chime in, I actually just got this my Emgality. Um it's like an EpiPen, and it's supposed to be a preventive treatment for the migraines. I also just got this medication, which is a potassium iodine drop, and that was prescribed by my rheumatologist for the same reason, the migraines. My migraines were sometimes upward of 4 hours in a day, and I when they come, I can't see. I'll have blind spots, or I'll have like glossy things that it's almost double vision. But this is what I've just been prescribed um this past week to try to address the headaches, because they are debilitating. They are ultimately um just debilitating to me.
Louis, you said the headache started after your first flare. Did they put you on medication shortly after that? Is it potentially a side effect of a medication?
No, it took about 2 months to be started, so I don't know if they're headaches or migraines. I don't have visual stuff, but I'll get like little nauseated and stuff. So I don't know what, you know, I guess I'll talk to my doctor. I don't know. Yeah. Um, yeah.
So the good thing about MS and migraines and headaches is that you're already seeing a neurologist and they're the ones that help treat that. So um
Yeah.
I think describing it, like Kim said, it might be a side effect of like your infusion, or it could be something completely different. It could be explained by like where your lesions are. I take medication every day. I don't take like Emgality like Tisha does, but I take propranolol for migraine prophylaxis. So that's just like a blood pressure medicine. You just take it like every day and it helps with that because genetically you might be predisposed to it. So there's like just a slew of different things. But if it started with your flare, it could be probably associated with that. So I think just if you talk to your neurologist about it, and as I've been saying, just keeping track of like what causes it and when it onsets and those things that come with it. If you're saying nausea and those things, that sounds more like migraines than just a regular like bad headache. And they're usually triggered by something. So trying to figure out what that is. So when you go to your neurologist, they put you on like the medication that's most appropriate.
Cool. I'll definitely let them know. I've always kind of had headaches throughout my life, but before I knew I had what I had, I thought so my eyes, I had double vision because they weren't working together. I thought it was headaches from my eyes working too hard, and it turned out to be this. So I went about 2 months without any medicine, but they seem to cycle. Like one week it's headaches, another week it might be a different symptom, you know. But the headaches seem to be the most annoying one right now.
Yeah, and with that, the frequency of it is really important because that will determine if you get put on like a lesser medication or something that's like higher like what Tisha's on. It's based on if you're having them daily, if you're having them weekly, different things like that. So that really
Okay,
helps your neurologist.
good. I'll note that for sure.
I love the fact, Louie, that you're being very cognizant of being hydrated because that's really important. And then I'm assuming, are you laying off the caffeine and other things that can be promoting
Yeah,
headaches and things like
yeah.
that?
I don't have caffeine. Uh, yeah, because that makes me anxious, so I stay off of that. Um, a little thing I'm figuring out is I think that I think I mean I think I've heard people say sugar affects them. I think that that's affecting me too. Not that I eat a lot of sweets, but I like ice cream. And one day I just had a whole pint of ice cream, and then an hour or two later, like I crashed. So I'm thinking it might be linked, but I'm down to try it again because I love ice cream. So
Amanda made a super amazing point in the chat. Getting adequate sleep is super important for headaches. I know I've been sleeping terrible lately, and I took 2 Tylenol before this chat, and I'm still having it. That's sleep related. I know what's causing that though. Okay, well,
Yeah.
before we wrap it up tonight, I just wanted to remind everybody we meet again in 2 weeks, March 22nd. 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, 6:30 Pacific, and 5:30. No, I said that wrong. 6:30 Mountain, 5:30 Pacific. I'll get it eventually, y'all. I'll get it eventually. Does anyone have any other questions
She
or
calls me.
comments?
She calls me up to train on that part.
Oh, did I?
I'm just kidding.
But I have a question. I didn't. If you said it, it went past me. Tisha, where are you living?
Oh, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Nice. We got another Southern tonight in the chat. Louis is from Texas.
We got another state in the chat.
Got another state. That's great.
Is there also like a minutes or anything from these meetings? Just curious.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
recorded, Tisha.
So we
Go
record
ahead.
these and it'll be uploaded on YouTube hopefully in a day or two. And then Rick, do we have like some of the chat is uploaded? Can you go into detail on that?
Yes. So if I attend the whole meeting, the chat is uploaded, but I didn't attend the whole meeting today. But Kim, if you you know how to find the chat in your computer, right?
Yes.
If you send me the chat, the Word document, I will take I'll edit out the between the
Private
organizers.
chats.
Yeah, or Frank, if you can do it with when you send it to me, if you send me the chat, I'll edit out the chat, I'll clean up the chat, and I'll post the chat in the YouTube when we post the YouTube. Tisha, I have to say you hit the jackpot here because we have a sarcoidosis group and we have an MS group. Right now, the sarcoidosis group is only meeting once a month. I think it's the first Tuesday of the month. So they met last week. I think that's right. But I know because I was in the RMC room for a while, I know you sent Alexa an email because that's how you found out how to get on here. So Alexa must have your address, and we'll make sure you get the reminders for the MS meetings and the sarcoidosis meeting. And if you go to our website, ancam.org, you'll find our YouTube channel, or you can go to YouTube and seek us, and then our meetings are all in there. And you'll find old meetings you can listen to when you don't have anything better to do.
Well,
Put
that's
it
I
on in the
will, but
background. We're a good listen
that's
in the
right.
background.
But wait a minute. But we just found out that you've got a compatriot here. I don't know if you saw in the chat window that Amanda's from New Orleans. Is this true, Amanda?
Yeah, I forgot, Tisha, that you can't see the chat, but I'm from New Orleans, so when you said Baton Rouge, I was really excited.
okay. Well, yeah, we're sisters by nature. New Orleans is just a little hopscotch and jip.
There is
Jip,
almost
jip.
no great city
You know what I'm trying
involved
to
in
say.
New Orleans.
Okay, now there's no talking Creole on this conversation because we won't understand. Okay.
Creole or Cajun, big difference.
It is really cool that we
What's
got
that?
everybody in each time zone in the lower 48. We got everyone in each time zone tonight, which is super fun.
So
Usually we do
what
pretty good.
what does
But
wear your orange mean, Jennifer?
do you want to explain that, Jennifer?
Yes, it's the color of our multiple sclerosis awareness. It's the month of multiple sclerosis awareness. So I'm gonna wear my orange. The third, is it the 30th? Yeah. So, and
I thought it was a personal message because people have told me I look good in orange.
I mean, look, a bad color.
Well, you
So
know
I
that
did
the
buy-
month of March is MS Awareness Month. Just like
Yeah.
breast cancer is in October, we take March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
We
and
don't
then
get pink though. We get orange. Orange. Jennifer doesn't look good in orange. Okay.
For progressive.
I feel like you would look good in orange, Jennifer.
Yeah, I think so too. That hair is wonderful. So you
Right?
know, I would compliment the hair.
Like,
We never see that. We never see that hair down.
well,
It's
I
the-
got a perm.
Oh, that's why it looks so fantastic.
Parted the other
Okay.
If we're on the ball next meeting, everyone should try to wear orange to the meeting so we can
Yes.
bring the awareness to the
Oh,
meeting.
put it in the note. Put it in the note.
Look, on my Facebook, I've been putting educational stuff about like kind of like symptoms like MS hugs and stuff, because it's also about education and trying to kind of, it's awareness though. I don't know. That's what I do. I like it.
And
Well-
we appreciate it, Jennifer. Every bit of education helps.
Yep.
Miss
We'll have
Miss
to have some
Jennifer.
kind of MS hug. We'll like say goodbye. We'll say goodnight with an MS hug.
So, Miss Jennifer Digman, be sure to, when you send the notes to Alexa for the next meeting, be sure to remind her that it is MS month and that people have to wear orange. Okay.
Absolutely. Even if you look
Okay.
dreadful,
Encourage to wear.
I wear
I
orange
can-
all the time.
see, yeah. It's
I'm
so
always wearing my neon orange shirt at the Mayo Clinic so my mom can find me, or like when she has her surgery next month, that she can just say, just look for the my daughter's the chick in the bright orange shirt. You can find her in the waiting room. It's so convenient to be like the only one in orange or bright color at Mayo. So I've turned into I'm back in the late 80s, early 90s again, guys. I wear neon all the time now. It's not today, but yeah.
I
So
got an
then we have-
orange ribbon. I got an orange ribbon and I attached it to my work badge.
Nice. So I love it how Amanda and Tiffany.
Orange Jolly Ranchers, the peach color, the peach kind.
Aw.
I shared it with the office. I said we're eating orange, peach, Jolly Ranchers.
Nice.
I love it how Amanda and Tiffany are doing the walks in April. Is anyone else doing the MS walk or bike or any of those things?
We're doing it in May here in Michigan.
It's Michigan. We don't get warm weather until May.
It's probably smart to hold off in May in Michigan.
Yeah, we're lucky if we get warm weather in May, but yeah, we walk in May. So, and yeah, so I will put something, Rick, about MS Awareness Month.
Wear the orange next meeting if you remember.
If you remember.
Or just bring some orange swag to wear, like a hat or a scarf or whatever you got. Bring
We have
some
a
orange
whole
swag.
room
We'll
that's
all be
orange.
twinsies on the next call.
They have the wall. You're right. You have the whole MS wall.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're in
it's all
That's
Dan's
orange.
cute.
office. So.
That's just not fair. They're already cheating. They already. I guess Jennifer too, because she has the red hair too. But
Yeah.
does anyone else have anything they wanted to ask, comment, question before we go our separate ways for a couple weeks? It's so great having everyone here tonight. It was
It was a great
fantastic. You
meeting.
guys were heroes. It
Speaking
was fun
about
time.
having everyone here, I just want to say it's a pleasure to see you, Mr. Digman. We thought you were totally AWOL. We haven't seen you for so long. It's a pleasure to see you.
Well, thank you. It's great to see everyone. It's just been, I mean, work fortunately has been just insane, and so it's just like but I appreciate that. No, this is but Jennifer keeps me up, and we can watch the videos and stuff. So no, this is good. So it's good to see everyone.
Yeah, you can watch the videos if we remember to turn them on, or we're allowed to turn them on. So we had such a fantastic meeting last time as well. I
And
wish
speaking of
everybody,
that,
I
Kim,
wish you could all have heard
turn
it. Oh
record.
man, what a meeting that was.
Yeah. Well, that was good, and we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
22nd. Bring your orange.
Bring your orange
Right.
out. Take
All
care.
right, take care, everyone. Good to see ya.
Namaste. Also,
Bye.
thank you for making me feel so welcomed. I really appreciate it. Thank all of you.
Come back, Tisha. We love